Hello everyone, welcome back to another video by clip on my YouTube channel, and in this video I'm gonna show you how you can make an amazing bass line with Vital. So as you already might know, there is some time since I started using the Vital. It's already 2 weeks I think, and after I did that first look into the Vital video, I realized that Vital is an amazing for making the bassline. So I have spent a little bit of time and researched about the Vital, and I did try plenty of its own settings. And this will be the first bassline I did with Vital, and as you will be able to see, the processing is not that long as usually it is. I'm using the Serum for my bassline or Rapture, and processing goes a bit crazy. And I really believe that an amazing bassline with Vital is because Vital filter sounds really good. So let's start with it, and I'm gonna show you exactly, and you will be able also to download the preset for this bassline as well. Alright guys, so let's start with it. As you probably can see, I have the kick, the bass. I did insert the rest of the channels from my template. So as you can probably see, I have the full template over here. So I have the clap, snare, and rest of the hi-hats all together with the sample and the bassline from Vital. I did this bassline using the F-sharp note, and these settings will apply only for the F-sharp. If you want this bassline to transpose to any other key, you will need to apply certain changes on the processing of the bassline, but I will show you that a bit later. So the first point of this template is the kick, of course. So this kick is my kick from my kick pack, and the name of it ECL Kick 23 and you can find that kick in my kick pack. I did certain changes on the kick as I inserted it on this first channel, then I bounced it, and then I applied some plugins in order to customize this kick. As I already mentioned many times, I'm never using the same sample twice. I will always change it at least a little bit, but I will never use the same sample more than once. So I will always apply some certain changes and customize it just in order to be sure that I'm not using the same sample. So when I inserted, I have applied some of the changes on the envelope on this kick, and because of that, it started producing some of the highs and mids on the body of the kick. So that's why I inserted the LFO tool with the filtering settings. As you can see over here, the filter is on, and instead of the volume, I'm reducing the cutoff of it. So I'm getting rid of all the highs and mid frequencies on the kick. The next thing I did apply a bit of EQing and changed EQ settings of this kick. And after that, on post fader slot, I have the invisible limiter. And I've been using this limiter only when I want limiter to cut off some of the peaks. So I will sometimes boost it until it destroys the peak or the transient in that way. Otherwise, I'm gonna be using FabFilter Pro L2 because it's a true peak limiting limiter. While this one I use only when I want it to reduce a little bit of those transients. So without any processing, it's more about the transient. The transient got a little bit different, and with all the processing, it sounds a bit warmer. Now, after I bounced it, I did apply the vitamin on it, and I increased a little bit of the mids and low mids. But straight after that, because I was increasing all of these mids, I wanted to have again invisible limiter G2. It is the newer version of the same limiter. And also I apply this from the same reason, because I'm increasing. You might be able to hear that just the first part or the transient is just a slightly lower with the limiter compared without the limiter. So in the end, I got this kick. I decided to apply a little bit of saturation of it. Yes, this band drive is on 92%, but if you can see, I decreased the input gain, as this knob is really connected to the amount of the input. So how much of gain we are having on the input of this plugin, that much this knob will work. So if I now reduce, if I put it back 0, it will sound pretty distorted even on 60% and on 100. But I'm decreasing the amount of saturation by holding the Alt key and reducing it down. And as I can remember, it was around -18, so I will set it over there again. And the wet was at 59. And this is how I got this, just a slightly of saturation on the low end. Maybe we can compare now the first version of the kick and this the last one. It's a little bit warmer sound. When I say warmer, I mean more pleasant in the low end, the low mids area. There's a bit more power. There is a slight touch of saturation as well and a distortion. And the transient sounds much more natural. Okay, now I explained a lot about the kick. Now I want to go to the bass line. I will play to you kick and the bass, how they sounds together with the whole processing. As I have said that I made this bassline with the Vital, I will just leave the first LFO tool as a side chaining effect. I shouldn't be using the term of side chaining because this is definitely not the side chaining. This is more of a pumping effect or modulation of the volume of channel, while side chaining is something completely different. So I think it will be much smarter if I start using the term of a pumping effect instead of side chaining when I speak about LFO tool and the similar plugins like this one. So let's start with the synthesis. It is initialized preset over here. The level is down and velocity has been connected to the level. Pull it to the maximum. So that way I'm controlling the level of each notes, the velocity of them, actually the level of this oscillation by the velocity on each MIDI note. Now from the right side, the envelope, I always like to use sustain on the middle. I'm getting the best results by having the sustain at the middle, and the decay I will always set approximately the length of 1/16 of the note on the current BPM. But just to make it a bit easier, always around 100 milliseconds, and in this case is 0.106 seconds, which is around 106 milliseconds. So every time the note will lose a little bit of power while it's going from the beginning of note till the end of it, and that way it will produce a little bit better transient and less muddiness in the body of each note. And of course after that the filter one, as probably you know already, I like to use 12 dB filters and I like to use them 2 times, and I like that much more instead of using one filter on 24 dB. Theory, it's supposed to be the same, but the test I have been doing showed me that it sounds much better. And as I have explained already in some of my previous videos, I will turn off this filter for right now, just in order to explain what did I want to achieve with this. So the transient on 12 dB is much better. What I don't like on 12 dB is that the body, after this envelope finish, there is a lot of high and mid information on the tail of the bassline. And this is what I like more about 24 dB per octave filters. But the transient or the first part of the note I like much more on 12. The filter one will be there to provide the really nice transient, the really nice first part of the note, and the filter one will leave a bit much of the high and mids informations on the second part of the note or the body. And for that reason, I'm using filter 2, as I just want to get rid of the high and mids information on the body of each note of the bassline. So I'm still having the same transient, the same patch as I have with only one filter. By turning the second filter, I'm just clearing out the body, and this is the only reason why I do it. And filter one you should put over here so they go in parallel. So it is a really simple settings, and you can get an amazing results by applying only this much. Init preset, setting up the envelope 1, sustain to half, decay to 106 milliseconds, envelope 2 connecting to the filter one, and these settings over here are 0.098, so 0.1 as well. Sustain down, release doesn't matter because the sustain is down. Attack on 0, which is really important. Filter cutoff 72.6, the envelope amount of envelope. Envelope 3 is connected to the cutoff of filter 2. And here I have much shorter decay, as I want to just have this transient over here, which I talked about. But straight after this transient ends up, I want to clear the body with filter 2, and this is why the setting of the filter of the cutoff is a little bit higher, 1400 hertz, and these settings over here are always around 250 hertz, and in this case 230 hertz. So I want to tease you a little bit, and this video is going to be chopped in 2 parts, and this part is just explain the synthesis, while in second part you will be able to see the processing, and in second video you will get the preset. And I really want to keep you waiting for a preset because I really want to make one video about those presets. I have so many requests for a presets. A lot of you are asking for a preset. With the presets you won't solve anything, especially with the bassline. So if you want to use this bassline for some other bassline note, if you transpose it to G or F sharp or E, you will need to apply certain changes on the processing as well. For each note, the frequencies are moving and its harmonica are moving, and that's why all the settings you're gonna see in the next video are not gonna apply the same for each note. For each note, we will need to apply certain changes, and to do that correctly, you should start understanding after applying certain plugins what is exactly happening with the sound. Only that way you will be able to make a decision next time. So the only way to make those changes correctly, you need to understand what's happening with the sound after applying the certain plugins. By understanding what is exactly happening, you will be able to make the right decisions, and you won't be searching for solutions for that long. You will know straight away what is happening. The preset should be there just in order for you to see and to learn, not by loading the preset, by tweaking all of those knobs and listening all the time. What are the changes are happening when I put this plugin or when I move this knob on the VST? I know it might look that presets are super handy, but they are not that much. They are handy only if you are learning from them, but if you are using them in your production, this is not a good thing. Thank you very much for watching, and see ya really soon with part 2 of this video. Bye, ciao.